During their heyday in the 1950s, Louis Marx Company employed 26 talented model makers and artists in the Glendale, West Virginia plant in their storied model room. Today, we're going to delve into a little bit of the history of one of those people, artist Jim Morris. In June of 2024, at the Kruger Street Toy and Train Museum's annual Marx Toy and Train Collectors Convention, I was able to pick up the three pieces you see behind me. These are artist proofs of boxes for various Marx toys which were put into production. This led to me being introduced to a lady in Ohio by the name of Gloria Gaylor, who is the daughter of one of Santa's elves, Glendale Marx artist James Morris. Today, we're going to look into a little bit of his history with Marx and elsewhere and find out what really made this artistic genius tick.
Yes, to my knowledge, he started about 1952-53, and probably was there for about 4 years. I think 56, 57 would have been about the end of that. And to my knowledge, he did start full-time as an artist there.
Okay. Did he have any formal training as an artist or a background, or had worked somewhere else first as an artist?
Yes. My father was one of 5 children, and he started showing artistic ability at a very young age. And he did get some art lessons. I don't know that it's formal training, but he did take art lessons growing up from an artist called Patrick Sullivan, who actually became a very well-known artist from Wheeling. He has, to my knowledge, 2 paintings at the MoMA in New York. He was not well-known. Patrick was not well-known, and he died not knowing that he was going to become famous. But my father did take some art lessons from him and would paint alongside him. Then my father went to Ohio State and majored in art. Then he went to World War II, and then he followed up getting his degree after he came back from the service at West Liberty. Later on, he did get his master's in art from WVU. Well, I was very, very young, 2, 3, 4 years old at the time. So I did think that my father did go to work at Santa's toy shop, which I found very, very fun. He did talk about his work and the artists that he worked with. I do feel he had a great camaraderie among the artists together there. He did have a friendship with Floyd Chamberlain. I remember Floyd coming to our house and them kind of drawing together sometimes and talking about painting, because they both painted on their own outside of work too. They were passionate about art and were both extremely competent and talented artists, I believe, in all facets of art. It seemed that Floyd and my father also did love drawing caricatures. So I do have a caricature that Floyd drew of my father, and it's quite good. And then my father had caricatures of some of the artists that he worked with. But yeah, I did meet some of the men, and my father seemed to really enjoy his time at Marx Toys. He did have on his toy boxes, the beginning of the toy boxes, the ones that I have a lot of, have measurements on there. So he seemed to be a little bit more mathematically inclined.
Okay.
He was very precise in his measurements. His printing was extremely precise. He did do the instructions that would go inside the box, inside the toy boxes. I know.
Okay, the instruction sheets. That is usually very detailed work, because not only do you have to explain how to use something, but in essence, you have to be able to explain it to about a 5-year-old.
Correct. And at that time, all of the instruction inserts were done by hand. So I do have instruction inserts that he did, and I can recognize his printing.
If you've been enjoying Kruger Street Stories and want to help us out, like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. None of these cost you anything, but they help with the algorithms so more people will see and experience our videos. Now back to today's episode.
He had a lot of vehicles, trucks, station wagons, but he also did other things, such as he did the police station, he did the preschool play desk, he did the colonial house. So he did it. They weren't all vehicles.
Okay.
I would say it was varied. He also did like DC-7 airplanes, lots of different vehicles, but also other things. My very favorite thing that he did design for the toy box for is the nativity scene. Well, before he went to Marx, my father owned a sign shop in Wheeling.
Oh, okay.
And that is back when everything was done by hand.
Mm-hmm.
So businesses would pay my father to do their signs, their advertisements, even for the newspaper. He drew and designed logos, bread wrappers, a lot of commercial art came in during that time. And then neon came into fashion, and that kind of put him out of business.
I see. So then by the time he got to Marx in 52, 53, he actually had quite a lot of experience with commercial art, which would be very similar to creating boxes for toys, creating instruction sheets, and things of that nature. So he would have had a lot of experience when he came on board already. Yes.
Whenever he designed a toy box for some reason, and would just have the sheets, starting it perhaps, or maybe the prototype right before it would be actually made into the toy box. He would bring them home, and he would show my mother, I'm working on this, or what do you think of this? And for some reason, my mother had the foresight to save those papers, boxes, those unfolded, most of them are unfolded, uncirculated toy boxes. And she put them under the bed. And she stored them under the bed away from light. And every time he worked on a toy box, it ended up underneath the bed.
I see. And so you had like an archives of what he worked on.
Yes, and that's kind of how the collection began, of having all of these items. If she had not done that, I don't know what would have become of them.
I see.
So, but my father did bring home broken, defective, cast-off toys that were going to be discarded, and he would bring them home. And I remember I would cry because I said, these are boys' toys. These are just little boys' toys.
Oh.
And they'd be soldiers or horses or airplanes or something like that. But I was always quite offended because there were no girl toys, I thought, at that time. Later on, of course, they did.
Do you know what prompted him to leave Marx and go elsewhere?
I know that he went from Marx to Hazel Atlas Glass Company.
Okay.
And he became a designer artist at Hazel Atlas Glass.
I see.
And he designed the outside of glassware.
I see. So that might have been a promotion of sorts if you look at it that way. You know, maybe it was more challenging. Maybe it paid more. I don't know.
I don't know, but I know he went straight to Hazel Atlas.
I see. And he finished his career out there?
He did not. At around maybe late 60s, early 70s, Hazel Atlas wanted to move their whole production to Tyler, Texas.
Okay.
And he was offered a job to move to Texas, and my parents decided not to move. So he started teaching at that point. He taught art.
And where did he teach?
He taught at John Marshall High School. My father was basically an introvert. He was on the quieter side. He would not be the loudest person in the room. Very deep thinker. As I mentioned, a spiritual man. He was so passionate about art. Spent nearly every single day painting. As I mentioned, he had a painting going at all times. He was a primitive artist, a fine artist. I have probably 60, 70 paintings, oil paintings, watercolors, etc., that my father painted. He was an athlete. He was a golfer. He golfed quite a bit at Ogilvy Park and various other courses around the area. He loved sports of all kinds. He loved to travel, usually to art galleries.
Okay.
Spent a lot of my childhood going to art galleries, and I remember complaining. But now I'd love to go to art galleries, so I guess that was good exposure for me.
When did you find out that Dad didn't work for Santa Claus?
I think I actually grew up thinking he did my entire childhood. I don't know.
I just find that funny because for 30 plus years, I've told every former employee out of that model room that I've interviewed at all three factories that in our eyes, they are Santa's real elves. And in my belief, they are, because, you know, Marx being the biggest toy company in the world in the 50s, literally they were creating what Santa was going to bring basically everybody in the country.
Exactly. And maybe it was Santa's workshop and they just didn't know it.
Well, now you know a little more about James Morris, Marx artist, and another one of Santa's real elves, the employees of Toy King Louis Marx. Hope you enjoyed today's episode. We'll see you back here real soon with another Kruger Street story. Goodbye for now.
Well, that's it for today's episode of Kruger Street Stories. We hope you enjoyed it. Don't forget to like, Press our circular logo on this page to subscribe, and click on the thumbnail to watch this next episode we know you'll also enjoy.